Hey, welcome aboard, whoever's out there watching this. This is I kept seeing on the Facebook feeds that Brandon Hires had released a new video about it says called "Is Apple Silicon Killing the Plugin Market?" And I'm assuming this is going to be about the M1. And this is something we've been talking about a lot lately. And changes happen. Eventually, you have to update your stuff, and a lot of stuff goes by the wayside. But that's all fine and good. Progress is like they say, you can't stop progress, but that doesn't mean that along the way you have to go out of your way to break things that previously worked. And this is something, when it comes to Apple, how many times have we talked about how hard it is to install previously working plugins and things, allegedly for some sort of security update on the newer OSs, Catalina especially, on up. I never ran into a situation where somebody had their credit card hacked because they installed the free VST plugin or audio units plugin, but that's usually the excuse the Apple apologetics give for why this thing's happening. And I really got a question. I suppose if you're using Logic, it makes sense to use a Mac, but what is it about Apple's that makes you guys want to use them? I mean, what? I don't understand. Like, you're going to pay more money for something that's probably going to be a much lower quality. You're forced to use certain things. You're forced to not be able to use certain things. A lot of software won't work. Tons of hardware won't work. You got to buy their hardware unless you're doing a Hackintosh. What is it for you Apple faithful? I really want to know, what is it about the Apple that makes you want to use this thing? Is there something it does? Something magic? We used to hear the claims about how you could more easily run audio from one app to another in a Mac, and that's just not. I don't think that's true. They seem to have the same problems as we do on Windows with the additional one that you can't run reroute on it. So I have no. I'd love to know why you Apple faithful insist on using these pieces of crap. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say it that way, but that's how it feels when we got to deal with these things. Tech support time. For all the trouble that Windows makes, it's 99 times out of 100 it's an Apple problem. So anyway, let's get on with this video, and I'll quit the babbling.
Now, we know that the new Apple M1 is out there, and I don't have my hands on it yet, so this isn't a review of how well it works. There's 100 videos out there showing, well, you can get this render time and this processing speed, and it works with this and that and this. It doesn't work with this yet, so hold off. And there's also a bunch
of... that's the thing. I actually saw some... I think Scott Stillwell went and got one of these M1s, and I think, was it him? He was showing that there's certain processes, this thing just smokes, man. It seems awesome. But, if it doesn't run any of your software, who cares, man? I'm pretty sure Justin got Reaper M1 ready a long time ago. So, I mean, it'll probably run Reaper. Will it not run certain plugins? I'm really not sure. But, that was the thing. I keep seeing, for this one obscure thing, this M1 does screaming fast stuff, but and what is it? NVIDIA or somebody's going to make a chip like this as well? I'll say this: the good side of this M1 thing is that it's gonna inject some life into the AMD versus Intel war that's been kind of stagnating. Seems like AMD's just adding more and more and more and more cores, and I don't know what Intel's doing.
Plugin developers going crazy because, hey, Apple yet again changed their standards and updated their operating system, and it's like every year or two there's something else for you to worry about whether or not to update your system so that you're staying on top of the game in terms of cybersecurity. And
okay, talking about cybersecurity, this is where the apologetics really always comes up. Security. So somebody tell me who got owned by installing Young's free VST, whatever, forefront bass or forefront piano or whatever. Are people really getting hacked on these apples that often that you're going to make it almost impossible to install plugins anymore? Never mind what he's talking about. I think, which is that the new chip may not run these plugins.
And bug fixes, or whether or not to stay far behind that curve, risk it, and then end up being obsolete sooner and not having any of the issues, though, that others are having with updating their system. It's a constant back and forth. And it's all got me thinking, should I reevaluate my stance on only using third-party plugins? I mean, for the most part, I only use third-party plugins. And I did that for a very intentional reason. It's not that, stock plugins suck, especially not the ones in Reaper. Sure, they don't have the fancy user interface, but that doesn't matter because the plugins themselves definitely work very well. I did that personally because I was trying to simplify things. If I am working at a studio that has the same plugins, even if it's a different DAW that I don't know, I'm still going to be able to get similar results that I'm used to because I know those specific tools very well and can make things happen. So that's one of the reasons I decided to just use third-party plugins, things that I could ideally take with me to another studio on an iLock or something that would be easy to load at a studio so that I could use it wherever I might be working that day.
I always wonder about that. So if you have it on an iLock, and I still have some iLock plugins, when you go to that other studio, do you install the plugins onto their system? Are they cool with that? Like you download stuff and load it on their thing? I don't know.
The pandemic kind of sidelined any of my outings to other studios, and it is what it is. But at the same time, I'm also on the verge of being ready to upgrade from this iMac that I got in 2015. I'm sitting at it now. If I pull up about this Mac, this is running High Sierra 1013.6, a 3.4 gigahertz Intel Core i5. So not bad, definitely not current, but that doesn't matter. And I've had it for 5 years now. I remember buying it in 2015. 6 years. 6 years. I've had this 6 years now. And I usually try to update to another iMac after about 5 to 6 years because things are starting to get obsolete and we want to be able to stay current with things, especially when I'm doing, YouTube reviews on various products. The Waves Abbey Road compressor that came out that I did a review on, I had to go through some hoops because my system was the oldest operating system that plugin would load on. And I had to go through some hoops just to get it to work. It's showing its age, and those headaches are going to continue to happen. Because if you think about it, you're not going to have to worry about whether or not the developer has things updated for the new operating system. Let's say that you're using Logic and you get a new M1 Mac Mini, and Apple says that, according to Pro Tools expert right here, Apple has optimized all of their apps for the new M1 CPU for audio. It'll run Logic Pro. It says you can run 3 times more instruments and effects. That's not the important thing here, though. It's already ready for Logic Pro users to jump in with the M1. And sure, your third-party apps and plugins are probably not going to work, at least in the early stage, and those will catch up. But if you're fluent with your stock plugins, that doesn't matter. I remember everybody saying, don't update to Catalina. And okay, I didn't update to Catalina. I'm still on High Sierra. Don't update to Yosemite till we get everything ready. And it took months for all of the developers to get there. Some of the plugins that I own, the developers still aren't really caught up yet, which says something.
Some of the developers are dead. So some of these, like especially free plugins and stuff, they're not gonna get there. They're gone. And eventually we're gonna have to kiss these things goodbye. I'd love to have Beat Model Ampli back, right? Old DirectX plugin. I loved that thing. But no need to kill them until they're dead,
About that developer, but do I need to worry about that when I update to another Mac in the coming months? Why should I need to worry about that? Shouldn't I just be able to hop on and not worry about whether or not these other companies have caught up. I mean,
Well, I got a solution, and I got to ask it again. Why even use the Mac? What is it about that Mac that, what does it do that you guys even want to run that crap for?
the companies catching up, that will happen. And I still definitely know the third-party plugins that I've been using for years now, so that's not going to change. But in the meantime, for somebody who might be in a position where they need to go ahead and update to another computer, and then they're forced to hop on the M1 bandwagon, even though maybe everything was working on their previous system, but it's time for that upgrade. Can't necessarily wait for all of the companies to catch up with compatibility for Big Sur and Catalina. So, this is more of a thinking out loud and less of a statement of what I'm going to do. And I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below. So let's have a discussion here. What makes more sense? I mean, obviously, if somebody needs to update, it makes sense to me that they would just go ahead and do the update without fear that their system is not going to work, that all the tools that they use are not going to work anymore. Because if they're used to using those stock tools, then that doesn't matter as much. And, the beautiful thing about Reaper that I've come to really embrace after deciding to just use third-party plugins is that I can put Reaper on a flash drive. I can put Reaper on a external hard drive. I can take it with me to whatever studio I'm working at, and I've done that before. I've worked at Orange in Columbus, Ohio, and ran Reaper off of a portable install on their iMac, recorded it directly to my drive, and then brought it back home to mix the song for the client. So I had access to all of the stock tools, obviously, but I also had access to all the tools they had installed on their system. So having just that access to the stock tools and knowing what they can do and what they can get me, that should be enough. After seeing this happen multiple times, it just makes more sense to me that you would just rely more on the stock tools. And when your DAW is ready for that new operating system, which tends to happen earlier than the third-party plugins, and especially if you're using Logic, then okay, if it's a Mac, they're not going to release it until Logic is ready, because that's an Apple product, which makes me think, well, maybe for future-proofing reasons, I should consider looking into Logic. I don't know.
Yeah, I bet you Reaper will run before Logic will. We're all kind of spoiled as Reaper users because the stuff's always just so far ahead of the curve, and it just works, and you don't really have the copy protection hassles. You just run, but it is for these other guys that are running other DAWs. Logic, you're screwed if you try and run it on Windows, right? And I don't know, I think this is a screwy DAW anyway.
I mean, I don't like the idea of switching DAWs again. I'm really comfortable with Reaper. I'm really fast in Reaper, and I can take it with me wherever I need to go. They tend to be pretty quick on the updates and quite generous with the updates, so I don't think I need to go to that extreme. But, what's the smartest approach here? Well, in your opinion? Let's have a discussion in the comments. A little bit of audio geekery around gear and what equipment to use. So yeah, let's talk in the comments. You let me know what your thoughts are in this whole thing, whether or not it's even that important to you, and we'll go from there. And by the way, if you like content like this, please consider supporting this channel on Patreon. It'll go a long way to help make sure that I've got the time and resources available to put into content like this for you guys. And for everybody who's currently supporting the channel on Patreon, thank you a lot. I appreciate the crap out of it. Also, while you're here, don't forget to hit the like button if you like this video, dislike if you dislike it. It's up to you, but that's one of the best ways of helping your favorite creators, because that'll show the algorithm, hey, this person likes this video. Let's show it to more people who like what this person tends to like. It's how the algorithm works, and it's the best way to help out your favorite creators. Last but not least, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. That way you'll be notified anytime we release new content here at The Noise Floor. So thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time, okay?
Well, that was cool, but I don't understand it. Why the easy solution for me is to get off Logic and get off Mac. And I don't know if you guys have been watching the whole fight over LV2 plugins in Reaper, but that's coming. I'm almost guarantee it. I've showed you some pictures of it running. So hopefully we're gonna see LV2 pretty soon, and that might just mean, I don't dare say the L word, but maybe we're gonna be looking at Ubuntu or something too. Anyway, that was a cool video, Brandon. See you guys.